Who is responsible for Taiwan's defense?
Part 123.
Cuba. Incorrect viewpoints and correct viewpoints.
Continued.
In regard to the history of Cuba from 1898 to 1902, the following textual descriptions have been collected from various sources. However, these descriptions contain some incorrect viewpoints. As in the previous film, a statement of the correct perspective is offered for each.
Interim status.
The correct perspective.
After the surrender of Spanish troops and coming into effect of the Treaty of Paris, the Spanish government officials left, and the government of the Republic of Cuba had not yet been formed. Hence, the island was in interim status, under the civil affairs administration of a military government. During this period, Cuba was unincorporated territory under USMG, but did not come under the territorial clause of the U.S. Constitution. It was most properly regarded as what the U.S. Supreme Court later designated as a U.S. overseas quasi-trusteeship.
U.S. Constitution.
The correct perspective.
As unincorporated territory under USMG, Cuba qualified as an insular area of the USA. With the coming into force of the peace treaty on April 11, 1899, and with reference to the rulings in several U.S. Supreme Court cases from 1901 and beyond, the people of Cuba were entitled to enjoy fundamental rights under the U.S. Constitution.
Fundamental attributes and similarities.
The correct perspective.
In fact, during these periods, the situation of Cuba and the situation of Taiwan are very similar. The following aspects are particularly notable. 1. Each territory was conquered, liberated by U.S. military forces in a formally declared war. 2. According to the customs and usages of war, the United States serves as the legal occupier or so-called principal occupying power. 3. Each territory was ceded by its original mother country in the post-war peace treaty, but no receiving country was specified. 4. The jurisdiction of the U.S. military authorities over each territory was specified in the post-war peace treaty. And 5. Such jurisdiction continued past the date when the peace treaty came into force. 6. The administration of each territory has had many notable trusteeship characteristics, even though no individual trusteeship agreement was ever formally concluded.
Afterward.
With the coming into force of the San Francisco Peace Treaty, on April 28, 1952, many people are very much confused about Taiwan's status in the international community. If the peace treaty did not cede Taiwan to any other country, does Taiwan still belong to Japan? Or is Taiwan a sovereign nation? Or what exactly is Taiwan's status?
Being aware of the similarities of Taiwan's legal treatment in the post-war SFPT with the treatment of Cuba in the April 11, 1899, Spanish-American Peace Treaty, the editors firmly concluded that much insight could be gained by examining the Cuban example.
Hence, we have begun a new mini-series starting with films 113, 114, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 121, etc., with the express purpose of determining the location of Cuba's territorial sovereignty during the April 11, 1899, to May 20, 1902 period.